they're remembering Renee Nicole Good, the 37-year-old woman who was shot and killed by an ICE agent as she was in her car. The ICE agent took his gun, shot through the front window, and killed her. The car then rammed into some parked vehicles. She was obviously shot just before the car took off. It's a heartbreaking scene. See flowers being laid in her memory. 37 years old, a mother of three, and her ex-husband said she was simply driving home after dropping off her 6-year-old kid at school. And we see the memorials going on right now. People in Minneapolis, indeed around the country, they are so upset about this incident.
Certainly are. Tensions are both flaring there on the ground in Minneapolis, and Democratic leaders are reacting. We have some breaking news now to hear what the leader of the Democrats in the House has to say about this. Let's listen.
That killing of Renee Nicole Good was an abomination, a disgrace. And blood is clearly on the hands of those individuals within the administration who've been pushing an extreme policy that has nothing to do with immigration enforcement connected to removing violent felons from this country. We support the removal of violent felons from this country who are here illegally. But that's not what this administration has been doing under the so-called leadership of Kristi Noem, who's a stone-cold liar. There's no evidence at all that this was a justified shooting. So let's deal with the tragedy right now. She hasn't even been buried. Our family is grieving. She was a single mom and an American citizen. And we all are outraged by what took place in Minneapolis, and we will respond decisively.
Go ahead. And I just want to, I watched the video. You felt like your stomach was being punched. Looking at the video, there seemed no justification for what these agents did. There needs to be a full investigation at the federal level, although I have little faith in the FBI in doing a fair investigation, or DHS, but at the local level as well. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
And we have some new CNN reporting that we're about to share with you. Multiple Department of Homeland Security officials are calling.
Yours?
Yep, and a chocolate coconut donut.
You're lucky I made one today.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, there it is.
Perfect.
All right, hand that off to you, and we'll see where we're at. So 455 is your damage, dear. Robin's card?
Yep.
Okay, I'll hand this to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There you go.
Yeah, what's the balance on that?
I will tell you as soon as she comes up. All right, she's up. 1738. Have a good day.
You too.
told not to engage if people were just yelling. So certainly there were agents who, coming into this assignment from all over the country, including places like Florida, California, Georgia, had been advised that there could be protesters, but were given some level of guidance as to how to deal with that. Lastly, I will say the officer, that we don't know much about him, he had been hospitalized and discharged. According to my sources, that would be typical in an incident like this, and he would also typically be put on administrative leave. I've asked the Department of Homeland Security if that is the case, and they have not responded yet.
And just to be clear, ICE agents aren't required to wear body cameras, right? And so do we have any indication whether they...
We don't know if they had the body cameras on in this particular case. In the Minneapolis region, they are not required to have those body cameras on, according to a law enforcement source that I spoke with. So we'll see if any of them did, but certainly they are not required across the board.
All right, Priscilla Alvarez, thank you so much.
And coming up, we're going to get reaction to what's happening in Minneapolis. Also, a critical Senate vote from Democratic Senator Adam Schiff. He'll be joining us. That's coming up.
You've worked hard your whole life, but when it comes to investing, the market can feel like a full-time job. The charts, the timing, the second guessing, and every trade comes with that same question. Am I doing the right thing? That's where True Trade changes everything. True Trade's automated trading system takes the emotion out of the market. No guesswork, no staring at screens all day. Just smart, automated trading strategies designed to work, even while you sleep. And here's the best part. When you download the True Trade app and sign up, they'll guarantee to fund each of your trading accounts with $50,000 or more in trading capital and no service fees for 12 months. That means you can start earning without risking your own savings and finally enjoy a hands-free path to financial freedom. To take advantage of our offer and secure your $50,000 in funding, download the True Trade app today on iOS and Android or go to truetrade.io. That's TrueTrade.io. True Trade, where technology earns for you.
Happening now, the first test of Congress's support for the president's intervention in Venezuela. The U.S. Senate is set to hold a vote on blocking further military action against the country. The vote could come as soon as today. Joining us now, one of the lawmakers who filed what's called the War Powers Resolution, the California Democratic Senator Adam Schiff. Senator, thanks so much for joining us. Earlier this week, your colleague, Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia, said he was still trying to get votes needed to pass this legislation. Where do you think things stand right now?
I think things are very close. I just saw yet another Republican member issue a statement of support for the resolution. We think we're very close. And look, we've seen these shifting rationales given by the administration. First, all the blowing up of these boats was supposedly about drugs. Then we see what it's really about. It's really about oil. It's about seizing the oil reserve. They plan to leave the corrupt number 2 in the regime in place. This is not about restoring democracy to Venezuela. They have no intention of bringing Maria Corina Machado or Edwin Gonzalez back to Venezuela. No, this is just about working now with a different corrupt regime or different part of the corrupt regime in order to seize that country's oil. And it risks getting us bogged down in Venezuela. All the more shocking given that this president ran on a campaign of not engaging in more foreign wars, not doing nation building, but really focusing on problems here at home. And that's not happening. The problems here at home continue to plague Americans. The cost of living, the cost of medicine, groceries, and everything else. That's being ignored while we engage in this military intervention.
And basically this resolution, this joint resolution, would stipulate that no more military action is allowed in Venezuela unless Congress authorizes those actions according to the War Powers Act. Have you spoken, Senator, with any of your Republican colleagues about this? Have any of their positions changed since yesterday's briefing, for example?
Well, I haven't spoken with them since the briefing yesterday, so I don't know whether that briefing changed any minds. My guess is that a number of Republicans who I spoke to previously and were apprehensive, uncomfortable with the blowing up of these ships, but accept at least at that point the rationale that this was necessary to stop drugs coming to this country. Now that they see this is about oil, now that they hear the president say that he is committed to running the country of Venezuela, perhaps indefinitely, but certainly for a period of months months or years, that calculus changes. I think it's changed at least for one member, one Republican member who didn't support the last resolution, is now supporting this one. We just need one more. We just need 4 Republicans, and we can pass this in the Senate. That would make a very powerful statement. We also, of course, need a House to act. But nevertheless, if we don't exercise this power under these circumstances, then if we see further military intervention in Colombia or Mexico or Greenland or Iran or Nigeria or anywhere else, Congress will have only itself to blame for letting this power given to us by the founders atrophy to the point of complete non-use.
And it needs a simple majority in the Senate to be approved. Speaking of yesterday's highly classified briefing that you and other senators received, how much more can you share with us about the plan for Venezuela that the Secretary of State Marco Rubio laid out for the lawmakers yesterday?
I was back briefed on it today, Wolf. I was actually in California meeting with fire victims on the anniversary of our terrible fires in California. But the briefing that I got really, just echoed, I think, the public rationale we're hearing. That really just doesn't pass the smell test, and that public rationale the administration is now advocating was that this was a law enforcement operation with merely military support. That's absurd. If this were a law enforcement operation to seize a fugitive, that is Nicolas Maduro, it would have ended with his apprehension. But of course, our intervention in Venezuela is only beginning. We're going to be running that country apparently, and that is not any kind of law enforcement operation. This is a military and political operation. So the legal rationale doesn't really pass muster in any way. But I think also members of Congress, particularly those that were here during Iraq and the aftermath, seeing all of the hopeful statements from the administration that we can run this country at a distance, that we don't have to have boots on the ground, that the regime can be made compliant and pliant by our withholding of their oil sales. It sounds so eerily reminiscent of the hopes of democratic transformation in Iraq and the absence of necessity of getting mired down there. We saw how well that turned out, or rather how very, very poorly. And I think there's a lot of concern bipartisan that we could be stepping into another quagmire here.
As you know, the president gave a very lengthy interview to the New York Times. I assume you read chunks of that interview. What was your reaction to what he sees happening in the immediate period ahead?
Well, there's a dissonance between what you hear Marco Rubio say, how essentially this is going to be time limited, it's just going to be a transition. Those same kind of sentiments obviously we heard in the very beginning in Iraq. That transition lasted for all too many years and at a great, great cost. But then you hear the president say something very different, which is we're going to be there indefinitely as long as it takes. When he was asked in particular in that interview, are you talking about months or a year? His response was something along the lines, well, no, I think it'll be much longer than that. So